Good afternoon and welcome to the 2017 to 2021 American Community Survey 5-Year Estimates pre-release webinar. Today's webinar is focused on helping you prepare for the release of the 2017 to 2021 ACS 5-Year data products. Today's webinar is being recorded and materials from this webinar will be available through the Census Academy in the recorded webinar section. The link provided on the slide will lead you to the Census Academy page containing the materials from this webinar. If you are in need of closed captioning, click on the CC button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Before I proceed, I'd like to say a special thank you to our American Community Survey respondents for their participation in the survey. Without them, we would not have these data, which are so important to our America's communities. The slides for today's webinar are currently available in the press kit. You can find the press kit and the link on the slide. Throughout the webinar, links to more resources will be available in the chat window or through scanning QR codes on the slides using your mobile device. In addition to the question and answer session we will hold at the end of the webinar, subject matter experts will be answering questions throughout using the Q&A feature in WebEx. Send your questions through the Q&A panel in the lower right corner of your screen. You may need to activate the Q&A by clicking on the Q&A icon, which might be nested under the icon with 3 dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. If you're unable to ask your question or have additional questions after the webinar, please send them to the Public Information Office via email at pio@census.gov or by phone at 301-763-3030. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Jewel Jordan, a Public Affairs Specialist with the Census Bureau's Public Information Office. Our presenter today is Charles Gamble, a Supervisory Survey Statistician with the American Community Survey Office. I will now hand the presentation over to Charles, who will narrate the information on the upcoming 2021 ACS 5-Year data release. At the end of this presentation, we'll offer an opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you, Jewel. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today in preparation of the American Community Survey's 5-year release next week on December 8th. Before we get started, I want to outline what we cover today. First, I'll cover the next week's American Community Survey data release and our upcoming releases in early calendar year 2023. Then I'll give a brief overview / refresher of the American Community Survey and next cover what's changed for this release. I'll also briefly talk about the various tools you can use to access ACS products. And last, we'll go over the ACS website and its many resources, as well as provide a live walkthrough of a few different sections of our webpage that you may find helpful. To close out this afternoon, we will open the webinar for any questions you may have regarding the 2021 5-year data release next week on Thursday. So this coming Tuesday, the 2017 through 2021 ACS 5-year data will be available for early access through the embargo ahead of the public release next Thursday on December 8th. These estimates cover the 2017 through 2021 time period for all geographic areas. The media embargo will begin Tuesday, December 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This embargo site will contain all data products on data.census.gov. Please visit the press kit link provided on the slide to find the 5-year data products available for media. Our public release will be Thursday, December 8th, and data products will be available by 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will include all the 5-year products such as comparison profiles, subject tables, detail tables, and more. Also included in the public release will be our narrative profiles that are available through the ACS website. Like data.census.gov, other existing tools like the API, Quick Facts, and My Tribal Area will be updated with the new 2021 5-year data. Today's webinar and focus is on our 5-year release next week, but I also want to talk about the few remaining products that will be coming out in the new calendar year 2023. These remaining products are the 2017 through 2021 ACS 5-year public use microdata sample, also known as PUMS files, and variance replicate estimate tables, which will be released on January 26th of the new year. The ACS PUMS files are a set of untabulated records about individual people or housing units. PUMS data are made available to data users at the nation, region, state, and public use microdata areas, also referred to as PUMAs. PUMAs are non-overlapping geographies which contain at least 100,000 people. And Plums files allow data users to create custom tables that are not available through pre-tabulated ACS data products like what you find in data.census.gov. Plums files can be found on the Census Bureau's FTP server or through the microdata tool available at data.census.gov. The variance replicate estimate tables allow advanced data users to calculate margins of error, which include the covariance term when combining ACS estimates within a table or between geographies. Our variance replicate tables can be found on the ACS website at census.gov/ACS and then under the data section. Finally, we will release the selected population tables and American Indian Alaska Native tables no later than June 2023. Selected population tables and American Indian and Alaska Native tables contain the greatest level of statistical detail for specific population groups. Selected population tables are available for select race, Hispanic origin, tribal, and ancestry population, whereas American Indian Alaska Native tables produce more detailed tribal categories compared to the selected population tables product. So before we dive into information on the release coming next week, I first want to provide a brief overview of the ACS and 5-year data products for those who aren't as familiar with the survey, as well as provide a quick overall refresher of the survey itself. So the ACS is the nation's most current, reliable, and accessible data source for local statistics on critical planning topics such as age, children, veterans, education, income, and much more. The ACS samples approximately 3.5 million addresses each year. These data are collected continuously throughout the year to produce annual social, economic, housing, and demographic estimates. The data collected through ACS are used to inform the distributions of more than $675 billion of federal government spending each year. The ACS is designed to produce critical information on small areas and small population groups, previously collected once every 10 years as part of the decennial long form. With the introduction of the ACS, communities and businesses receive more current data, and the census questionnaire sent to all residents every 10 years has been significantly shortened. Our ACS estimates cover more than 40 topics, support more than 300 known federal uses and countless non-federal uses. Businesses and communities use these estimates each year to make vital decisions for their communities. The Census Bureau releases 3 different sets of ACS data estimates each year in the form of 1-year estimates for geographies of 65,000 or more, which we released for the 2021 back on September 15th. 1-year supplemental estimates for geographies of 20,000 or more, which we released on October 20th, and 5-year data sets for all geographies with no population threshold, which we are gearing up to release next week. Now, the content collected by the American Community Survey can be grouped into 4 main types of characteristics: social, economic, demographic, and housing. Now, taking a closer look at the type of information each of these categories contain, social characteristics include topics such as disability status, education, and language spoken at home. Economic characteristics include topics such as commuting to work, employment status, and income. Housing characteristics include topics such as computer and internet use, housing cost, and vehicles available. And the American Community Survey also collects basic demographic characteristics such as sex, age, race, and Hispanic origin. So these topics are used to produce more than 1,000 tables for communities each year, and they power countless news stories every day. And with that, we want to thank our media partners for using ACS data to build their stories. So in addition to the 40+ topics the ACS collects data on, another strength and what the ACS is known for is the number of geographies in which the data are available. So starting from the top at the national level all the way to your local community, the ACS provides data for more geographies on an annual basis than any other household survey. The 5-year data release includes more than 620,000 geographic areas. These geographic areas include granular geographies like the census tract and block group levels. And there are 87 different summary levels available for the 5-year estimates. Unlike the 1-year ACS releases, which have a population threshold of 65,000 or more, geographies in the 5-year release do not have a population threshold in order to be published. So geographies in the 5-year release are the nation, as well as the American Indian, Alaska Native areas, and Hawaiian homelands. And a reminder on that, the new American Indian, Alaska Native tables will be released no later than June 2023. Other geographies are all states, including DC and Puerto Rico, all metropolitan areas, all congressional districts within the 116th Congress, all counties and places, and all tracts and block groups. And block groups are the smallest level of geography produced by the ACS. For specific guidance on 5-year estimates, First, it's important to understand the concept of a period estimate, as all ACS estimates are in fact period estimates. Period estimates describe the characteristics of an area over a specific period, not a single point in time like what you find with the decennial census. So in the case of the ACS 1-year estimates, the period is 12 months. The estimates in the 5-year release are pulled together across 60 months. Now, it's important that we note 5-year estimates are not an average of the 1-year ACS estimates. The 5-year data released next week will describe the population and housing characteristics from January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2021. After the data are pulled together, they are updated with the geographic boundaries of the last year of the period. So in our case, it'll be 2021. And then assign the appropriate weights to produce population and housing estimates. Weights are adjusted using the population and housing totals controlled for age, sex, race, and Hispanic origin, which are derived from the Census Bureau's population estimates program. Also, income and dollar estimates are adjusted for inflation based on the most recent year of the period. Therefore, this data year's 5-year estimates are adjusted to 2021 dollars. Now, a question you may be asking is, when should I be using 5-year estimates instead of 1-year estimates? And that's a great question to ask. So you want to use 5-year estimates when no 1-year or 1-year supplement estimate is available. Remember, 1-year estimates cover geographies of 65,000 or more, or there's a supplemental table available for those populations 20,000 or more. But if the geography you are seeking does not meet the thresholds, you will then need to rely on the 5-year estimates. Another instance when you want to use 5-year estimates is when the margins of error for the annual estimates are larger than desired. So a margin of error is the measure of sampling variability that is presented along with all ACS estimates. So for example, 5-year estimates are helpful when analyzing small population groups because of the high margins of error associated with them. Also, if you're comparing several geographies and one or more of the geographies do not receive the 1-year estimates due to the population size being too small, you will have to use the 5-year estimates to compare those geographies. So if you do find yourself interested in comparing 5-year data, we encourage you to make comparisons only with non-overlapping data. This year, you can compare the 2017 through 2021 5-year data with the 2012 through 2016 5-year data. These non-overlapping data sets will allow for a comparison of unique data. So only compare estimates of the same data set. So for example, compare 1 year with 1 year and 5-year with 5-year non-overlapping data. Please do not compare 1-year estimates with 5-year estimates. So 5-year estimates are helpful when comparing across geographies because all geographies are represented in the 5-year estimates as opposed to the 1 year. For example, all counties and places such as towns and cities are available in the 5-year regardless of the population size. This is not true for the 1-year estimates. Similarly, 5-year estimates are also great for making comparisons across subpopulations like ancestry and language groups. And one last note, when making comparisons, percent estimates are often more reliable than the count estimates they are based on. And when a population estimates program is available, such as the total population or the number of males or females in a county, the population estimates program data is the official value and is preferred. However, if data users require demographic data crossed with other topics, for example, educational attainment by age group, ACS count estimates may be used and compared. For a more in-depth review of the ACS and its resources, feel free to view our introduction to the ACS webinar conducted earlier this year in August. Both slides and recording of the webinar are available for your viewing. With that said, we do conduct an introductory webinar every year during the month of August. For our Spanish-speaking data users, we recently, on November 17th, performed the same webinar, but in Spanish as an additional resource. So moving on from the basics of the ACS, let's go over the updates for the 2017 through 2021 5-year release. The first change I'll discuss is about the population controls for the ACS. ACS data are controlled so that the number of housing units and people in certain categories are consistent with the Census Bureau's official estimates from the Population Estimates Program. The population controls for the ACS 5-year product are the average of the population estimates across the 5-year period. In most years, the ACS simply uses the latest release of post-census estimates, which are produced for the most recent census forward. for each of the 5 years. However, if the period straddles a decennial year, then the intercensional estimates are used for years prior to the decennial, and the post-censional estimates are used for the decennial year forward. Intercensional estimates form a time series starting from the preceding census and ending at the current census, so they are informed by both censuses. Now, due to delays in the 2020 census processing, the 2010 through 2020 intercensional estimates were not available for this year's 5-year product. Therefore, we needed to find a different solution for the 2017 through 2021 ACS 5-year than we used last decade. The population estimates for 2020 and forward included information from the 2020 census, but our most recent estimates for the years 2017 through 2019 did not. What we did was we bridged the 2017 through 2019 estimates to form a consistent time series with 2020 and 2021. This process made the controls and our 2017 to 2021 ACS 5-year estimates generally consistent with the 2020 census. Now let's transition to the actual table changes for the 2021 5-year data products. This year we have 5 new detail tables across 2 topics, those topics being both poverty and housing as seen on the slide. New table B17101 shows the total number of people and households for whom poverty status is determined, and housing added 4 new tables, showing estimates of utility costs for occupied housing units. There are also tables that have been modified across 9 different topics. A few examples of topics with modifications to both detail tables or subject tables include those listed, such as corrections to tables for food stamps and the foreign-born population, as well as updates to tables showing mortgage status and poverty. Other modifications were improvements to the comparison profiles for economic characteristics and housing characteristics. Specifically, the method of inflation adjusting median dollar amounts for previous years in CPO3 and CPO4 was changed. Data users are now able to closely match estimates by inflation adjusting previous year estimates using the Consumer Price Index retroactive series for the median income and housing estimates. For the complete list of 5-year table changes and modifications, please visit our 2021 Table and Geography Changes webpage. Table and geography changes are provided by release year, as well as by 1-year, 1-year supplemental, and 5-year estimates. Table changes provide new, modified, as well as deleted tables for each release year. Geography changes are also available on this webpage as a downloadable Excel file containing new, deleted, as well as geographic areas that have gone through name and geo-ID changes. One highlight related to geography I'd like to point out is that ZICTAs, or zip code tabulation areas, have been updated with the 2020 census boundaries. So next, I want to provide information on how data users can actually access the 2017 through 2021 5-year data products and what data products are actually available. So before diving into how to access the data, I'm going to give a rundown of the data products that are available for the 5-year release. So on the slide, the letters in parentheses next to the product name is the table identifier as it appears in data.census.gov. The number represents how many tables are available for that type. Data profiles show both estimates and percentages for particular geography on a variety of topics in one table. There are 4 profiles for social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics. And there's also a selected social characteristics profile for Puerto Rico, which is identified by having the PR at the end of the table ID. Comparison profiles, which are identical to data profiles, but offer comparisons of estimates across different ACS years, providing side-by-side data from 2 different 5-year periods. So for example, comparing 2017 through 2021 versus 2012 through 2016. And this product is best for comparing estimates over time. Subject tables, also like data profiles, but these tables include more detailed ACS data classified by topic. Therefore, subject tables are topic specific. Detail tables contain estimates and margins of error only organized by topic and are the most specific tables in the ACS product package. All the products I just mentioned are available through data.census.gov. Other products such as narrative profiles can be found on the ACS website at census.gov/ACS and will be available on Thursday, December 8th. So obviously, as you all probably know by now, data.census.gov is the primary platform to access data from the Census Bureau, including the data for next week's release. And data.census.gov will contain most of the data products you are actually looking for. The link at the bottom of the slide is for resources on data.census.gov, such as the FAQs, how-to materials, video tutorials, and more. This webpage is a great resource for learning how to use data.census.gov and other tools associated with it, like the microdata tool used for pulling PUMs. As of yesterday, there was an introductory and getting started on data.census.gov webinar performed that can be found on this page. So just 2 slides ago, I mentioned narrative profiles. I want to point out that this product will be available on release day, but the difference is narrative profiles are not made available in data.census.gov. Rather, they can be found in the ACS website. So to provide some context, the 5-year narrative profile is one of our more popular products. And this pre-generated report that describes a geographic area by providing text and graphics for roughly 15 different ACS topics. So if wanted, users can choose to produce a report on all 15 topics or simply a subset of topics of their selected geographies. Narrative profiles help novice users to interpret the data. And on the slide are some topic examples of what can be found in narrative profiles, such as poverty rates and industry data. And on Thursday, December 8th, the narrative profiles will be updated to the 2017 through 2021 5-year data. The summary file is another tool users can use to gather ACS data. It will be available next week during the embargo period and will be found in our press kit webpage. The summary file will be available to everyone on the release day, December 8th. Like the 2021 1-year release this past September, the 5-year release will also contain 2 formats of the summary file. One being the original format or sequence-based, and the other being the table-based format, which is the new recommended format. The 2021 ACS release will be the final release containing the sequence-based format. Therefore, moving forward, only the table-based format will be available for 2022 and beyond data releases. Summary files include estimates and margins of error from all the detail tables and geographies that are published for the ACS in a downloadable format. Now, the original sequence-based format stores tables in what is called sequences, which are a series of files that have to be merged together to complete a full table, whereas the new table-based format removes the need to merge separate files to create a full table. This new format groups estimates and margins of error together by table ID. Ultimately, it is much simpler on ACS data users to use a summary file, not having to reconstruct tables using sequences from several different separate files. We have also updated our ACS webpage to support the new table-based format. You can access the summary file data as well as supporting documentation by visiting our website. For the embargo period on December 6th, approved parties can access the summary file through a link provided in the press kit. Another tool available to access ACS data is the API, or what is known as the Application Programming Interface. The API is a data tool enabling researchers and software developers to access and use Census Bureau data within their programs and applications. This is a tool that presents data in a standardized way, and by standardizing the API query language across multiple data sets, the learning curve for researchers and developers is much easier. With the API, you can select variables in multiple data sets and place them in raw format for the layout of your choice. The API includes many Census Bureau data sets, including the ACS 1-year and 5-year data sets, as well as the supplemental data. And this will be updated on release day, December 8th, with the 2017 through 2021 5-year ACS data. To learn more about the API, we do have a webinar titled Using the Census API with the American Community Survey on our website. So I mentioned earlier that other tools such as Quick Facts, Census Business Builder, My Tribal Area, and a few others will be updated with the 2017 through 2021 ACS 5-year data. Quick Facts and My Tribal Area are scheduled to be updated on Thursday, December 8th with the 2021 5-year ACS data. Quick Facts is an easy-to-use application that shows tables, maps, and charts of our most frequently requested information for more than 10 census surveys and programs. Now, please do be mindful that Quick Facts does have a population threshold, providing data for geographic areas with a population of 5,000 or more. My Tribal Area is another tool that is quick and user-friendly. My Tribal Area gives 5-year ACS characteristic estimates for tribal areas across the U.S. So if you're interested in looking for data on areas such as tribal reservations, trust lands, etc., this is a good tool to use to find this information quickly. The Census Business Builder tool will also be refreshed with the 5-year ACS data in March or April of 2023. CBB for short is a mapping tool geared towards users needing data to help start or grow a business or to better understand an area's business landscape. Previous CBB was made up of the Small Business Edition as well as the Regional Analyst Edition. By next week, CBB will be updated to combine the Small Business and Regional Analyst Editions into a single convenient tool. So moving into our last section of the webinar today, and before we open up for any questions you may have, I want to take a moment to highlight some of the important areas of the ACS website and a few web pages that can help support you in your use of the ACS data. So obviously we understand the data itself is the main draw for users. You want to get the data and use it to help your communities, support your organizations, and or make important decisions. But with that said, we don't want to overlook the resources we provide and how they can help you in your understanding of the data in anticipation for the release next week. So I'm going to switch over to a quick demo highlighting a few select ACS web pages, and then I will come back to the slides for a Q&A portion to close out our webinar today. All right, so first and foremost is our ACS main page. Essentially, this is the gateway to finding specific information related to the survey itself. And that URL is simply just census.gov/ACS. And two things I'll point out on the main page is the left-hand navigation. This is the best way to navigate our web page. All the links are hyperlinked in blue to give you quick and easy access to different sections in our web page. And also in the middle page is our subscribe section. So if you're interested in ACS information, whether that be on ACS data releases, publications and events, or just overall program updates, you can simply supply us with your email and you'll get frequent ACS updates on ACS information. Now, the first section I'm going to pinpoint to today is the news and updates section. So I'm going to click news and updates from here from the left-hand navigation. And the news and updates section, I want to look at the data releases section. So data releases section is broken out and organized by data year. The first item I'm going to pinpoint and kind of look at here is the data release schedule. So data release schedule provides you an overall quick table of the planned releases for that current year. And in the middle of the table, you can see the actual products that are going to be released on that date, as well as the geographies available as well. Now, as we do release data, you see here the 5-year release. As we do release data, each one of these products will be hyperlinked to either give you a quick link to data.census.gov to find those data products, or for example, narrative profiles give you a quick link to the ACS webpage to find narrative profiles. Now I'm going to take one step back through our pathway here to our data release section and just point out a few other areas that may be of importance to you. You can also see our press kit links here as well for our 5-year, as well as our previous 1-year back in September. But I also want to note our new and notable section, which is basically a messaging board that kind of tells you what is coming up in the release that's taking place, as well as some additional supporting documentation that's all hyperlinked for you for quick and easy access to those documents. And earlier in the presentation, we talked about the table changes and geography changes. That's also linked here as well. So if you want more specifics on that, you can come here, click this link, and it will take you to more further detail on those table and geography changes as it pertains to the 2021 release or any of the other release years you're interested in. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the ACS homepage by clicking our pathway here where it says American Community Survey. And the next section I want to show is our data section. So I'm going to come to our left-hand navigation and select data. And the two items I'm going to show here today in the consideration of time for our webinar is the data tools and data table. So first I'm going to select the data tools link. And it is as how it sounds. It gives you a full list of data tools as it relates to ACS data. So for example, if I'm interested in the quick facts, I can select quick facts. It will give me a drop down. And what this will provide is the topics that are available within quick facts. It'll also provide me the data sets that actually power the tool itself and the geographies included. So remember, once again, quick facts provides data for geographies of 5,000 or more. So it's going to lay this out for you, that information. And also going to provide you a quick link to the tool as well to just give you that quick and easy access to start pulling data through quick facts. So much of this is the same for any of the other tools you want to select and take a look at. And the next item I'm going to show is the data tables. Now this page is built very similar to the data tools page. So it gives you a full list of data products. So our data profiles, our narrow profiles, and detail tables, subject tables. So what it shows is a brief description. So if I'm interested in detail tables, I could select detail tables. It'll give me a brief description of what detail tables are. It also gives me some information on how to identify detail tables based again on that table ID using B or C. Also the geographies available that are covered in that product in this case for detail tables. And also does give you links to tools that provide detail tables through them. So for example, if I'm interested in the 5-year detail tables through data.census.gov, I could select this link here and it would take me to data.census.gov and give me a full list of 5-year detail tables. All right, so stepping back, I'm going to go to our ACS homepage again by selecting our pathways as American Community Survey. And I'm going to go to our guidance for data user section this time. Now, I'm not going to click into all these sections. I'm just going to highlight a few. First is our handbook section. So we have over 14 handbooks. All of them are in PDF format, and they are downloadable. They're also broken out by a specific chapter. If you're only interested in a certain chapter and don't want the whole download, you can download one chapter at a time if you would like. And they also do provide how-to instructions as well as real-life case uses of ACS data, which is pretty cool to read about. The next section is the recorded webinar. So just as it sounds, these are our recorded trainings. What you'll find there is the training itself. You'll find the video and the slides associated with any specific training you're looking for. So once again, once all the information and once the slides from today as well as the recording from today is compiled together, you'll be able to find this webinar in this section as well. Another section I'll point out is the subjects included in the survey. So earlier we went over all the different subjects in the slide. If you do want to come here, once again, all the topics are broken out by the characteristic type, that's social, economic, housing, and demographic. And each topic is hyperlinked to go to data.census.gov to show you tables that are relevant to that specific topic of your interest. Another item is the stat testing tool. So this tool is good to use for users when they're trying to find if different estimates are statistically significant. It is an easy to use Excel sheet. You can simply plug in the estimate you're looking to compare, and it generates a simple yes or no, allowing you to or inform you whether or not that difference is statistically significant. And the last section I want to point out is when to use 1 year and 5 year. We had a slide on this earlier. This provides a quick table to view of all the different data products. So the 1 year, the 5 year, as well as the 1 year supplemental. And it'll kind of give you information on each data product about the geography available, the sample size, as well as the reliability and the currency of the data inside of each one of those products. So it's just a quick and easy way to help you make a decision on which product is best for you to use. So going back to the ACS homepage again, select through our pathway here. And I'm going to go to technical documentation. Now this section of our webpage has a lot of information that's embedded within it. I'm going to look at one section today, the code list definitions and accuracy section. So here, what you can find first, I'll pinpoint the code list, either in PDF or Excel format. So code lists are for the breakdown of detailed codes for many different variables, and a lot of these are variables that have a large number of coded responses. So, for example, ancestry, Hispanic origin, industry and occupation, or field of degree. So many of those variables can be broken down into many smaller groups, and this kind of shows you how the ACS survey itself breaks those variables down into those more specific groupings within those variables itself. Also, you can find subject definitions as well as group quarters definitions. This will just help you better understand the ACS variables and the survey results you're seeing on data.census.gov or any of the other tools you're looking at ACS data through. I do find myself using these tools myself, helping data users still, just refreshing my mind. And over 40 topics, it helps to kind of come and refresh your mind of how the ACS defines a certain variable you may be looking at. Also, in a pinpoint table list and table shells. So I actually click into this because I also want to provide a quick example of how to kind of link all this together. So table shelves and table list. If I were to select that link, this is what you'll see. Once again, it's broken out by data year. And table list. So table list is a full list of the ACS data tables. It provides you a table ID, the name of the table, as well as geographic restrictions, as well as the data sets that are available for a specific data table. So whether it's the 1 year or 5 year or both. And the table shelves is more so showing you the design of each table. So you can select a specific table, see how each table is broken out line by line, and the descriptions of that line. So just overall showing you the design of a table of your interest. So what I'll do now is I will come to table list, and just give you an example. I'm going to open table list. Okay. And let me increase the size here for you. All right, so let's say I was interested in tables that have the topic of vehicles. So I could come open the table list, hit Control F, type in vehicles already here for me, hit enter, and it will start finding tables for me that have the topic of vehicles. So I'm going to use this table here B08014, and what it was going to do is give me a table ID, the name of the table, the universe the table is pulling the population from, as well as the data product that it provides data for, so the 1 year and or 5 year, as well as geographic restrictions for both 1 year and 5 year tables. So if I want to go back a bit, what I can also do is then I can now see the table shell for this product as well. So if I were to go to the table shells, when you open the table shells link, it's going to give you a full link of tables. You could simply just use Control F and then type in the table ID you're looking for. So in this case is B08014, and you could download this spreadsheet as you see here. Once again, the table shell is going to break it down line by line as you see here, and then give you a description of what each line is showing and the overall design of the table itself. Now you may be wondering, okay, so I have all this information, but I also want to know how the ACS defines vehicles and what is meant by that. So I could come back here and I could look at our subject definitions. So taking a look at our subject definitions, second for me. Okay, these are subject definitions PDF. And you can come here, and I like to use Control F here as well. I can type in vehicles. And what's nice about this is the table of contents is hyperlinked. So I see vehicles available. I can go ahead and click vehicles available. It's going to take me to page 47. And what this is going to provide is a definition of how the ACS defines vehicles available. It's also going to give some background information on the question and concept of the history of pooling vehicles available. And one thing that's kind of cool to note, for example, in the definition, it's going to tell you motorcycles or other recreational vehicles are excluded from vehicles available in the definition of the ACS. So this is kind of just showing you, roping it all in together, how you can use the different tools to help you understand the ACS and the survey results you're looking at. All right, so I'm going to take us back to our ACS page again. And I'm going to click on the American Community Survey, ACS, go back to our home page. And the last page I'm going to show you today is simply, I'm going to go over this quickly, is the Information For section. So I click Information For. And the Information For section, it breaks out each section for specific ACS users. So you can see all the different user sections we have here. Today, I'm going to highlight the media since it's our 5-year pre-release webinar. Essentially what this is a one-stop shop. It's a consolidation of all the resources and materials we may think is helpful, in this case, for media members. So you come here, you can scroll down, see all the information that's available. All the different sections will have the ACS information guide, but here you see how we have the handbook for journalists, fact sheet for journalists, and also links to different data tools to find that data. So once again, it's essentially a one-stop shop for different types of ACS data users, depending on who you are. So going back to our homepage, once again, this is the ACS homepage, census.gov/ACS. I just showed a quick overview of the website itself. There's many different areas you can look at, such as microdata for PUMs, geography for ACS, as well if you're interested in the methodology of the ACS overall. So if you have questions, also you can contact us. Feel free to reach out to us, but do take some time to check out our website. There's some good information there for you. So now I'm going to jump back over into our slides to wrap up our webinar today. All right, so coming back into our slides, this wraps up the presentation portion of today's 5-year pre-release webinar. Hopefully, if you had questions, you were able to ask them and get responses through the Q&A feature. If not, I will turn the mic back over to our host, Jewel, as we enter the verbal questions portion of today's webinar.
Thank you, Charles. Now we'll begin taking questions. If you would like to ask a question, use the raise your hand feature in chat and we'll call on you in the order in which your hands were raised. When you ask your question, please state your name and affiliation. And because we want to give everyone an opportunity to ask their questions, we'll allow just one question and one follow-up question per attendee. If you are unable to ask a question or have additional questions for follow-up, please send them to the Public Information Office either by email at pio@census.gov or by phone at 301-763-3030. While we wait for questions, we invite you to stay in touch by telling us how you use data from the American Community Survey. For example, have you or your organization used the ACS to make an important decision, help your community, or expand a business? Please visit the link at the bottom to share your story and explore how data enthusiasts across the country are using ACS data in creative ways. These stories help to provide the importance of ACS data and the vital need for it across our communities. Your stories highlight the value of the American Community Survey. We also want to let you know about the ACS Data Users Group. The ACS Data Users Group is a great way to learn from your peers about how to use ACS data for all kinds of applications. Membership is free and open to all interested data users. There are currently more than 4,000 group members. Also, you can learn more about the ACS Data Users Group Conference scheduled for May 16th through the 18th in 2023. Please visit the Data Users Group website at acsdatacommunity.prb.org for more details. Currently, the Planning Committee is accepting abstract submissions. And while we continue to wait for questions, I would like to remind you that embargo subscribers will have access to 2021 ACS 5-year statistics beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, December 6th. The release of the ACS 5-year news products is set for the 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, December 8th. To see this data prior to the release of December 8th, visit the embargo area, which you'll find on census.gov by clicking on Newsroom, then Embargoed Releases. After signing in, you'll have access to embargo data and other products in the press kit. The embargo area press kit link on this page will also take you there once the embargo period begins. I'd like to remind you today that the presentation slides will be available in the press kit that's currently on census.gov. As we begin our question and answer session, please remember to speak clearly. Since we are completely virtual, we ask that you try your best to limit background noise. And we'll go ahead and see if we have any questions queued up. I see one from Mike Grimm. Greg, can you unmute Mike's microphone?
Yes, Mike is should be able to unmute now if he likes.
Mike, are you there? You may need to unmute yourself on your personal computer or phone line. I'm not sure if we're having a technical difficulty, but Mike, your question is not yet coming in. Please either use the Q&A feature to ask your question or follow up with us at the Public Information Office, either by email at pio@census.gov or by phone At this time, I'm seeing another question from Joseph DeStefano. Greg, can you unmute his mic?
And if and when that might be released as well?
I'm so sorry. We only caught part of your question. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, I'm curious about CTPP data and when that might be released as well.
Thank you for your question. Is there a subject expert available that's able to answer that question?
Hi, this is Nate Walters, ADC for the data tabulation area. We're currently working with AASHTO to define that data product and package. We anticipate releasing in mid to late 2024. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, Nate. I think that did answer his question. We'll move on then to Jen Chavez. Greg, can you please unmute her mic?
Released in December. Do we have a date, like an actual beginning of December, end of December?
Sorry, Jen, it seems like you also had it cut off. Can you please repeat your
Oh,
question?
sorry. Sure.
No worries.
So I just had a question on the release of the urbanized area data. I know it says it's December 2022, but does anybody have an idea if it's like soon or towards the end of the year?
Is there someone on the line that can answer that question?
Hi, this is Nate Walters again. I'm not sure I quite understand the question, but the urban areas will be included in the standard release next week.
If you're asking about urban areas in regards to the 2020 census, please direct your question to the Public Information Office. We can follow up with you by email that way. Thank you for your question. Next, we'll move on to Greg Olivan. Please give it 1 second to unmute before you begin speaking.
Your data sets like the 5-year ACS, if you ever subsequently update them or change them, do we have to check back to see if there are any updates or corrections, and how would we know about that?
Sorry, so it seems that we're having an ongoing issue where after you unmute, there's a slight delay. Can you please repeat your question?
Sure. Do you publish updates to data sets like the 5-year ACS subsequent to the initial publication? And if so, how would we know about those updates and when you make them?
Thank you for your question. Is there a subject matter expert available that can answer?
Yes, hello, this is Nicole Scanello from the American Community Survey Office. We don't repost the data, but we do post user notes as well as errata notes. Errata notes specifically will identify any issues that we've identified in the data. And I'll post a link to that in the chat.
Terrific, thank you.
Thank you for that answer, Nicole, and thank you for your question, Greg. We'll next move on to Bruce Mullins, if you can provide, if you can ask your question.
A product, residence county to workplace county commuting flows. I don't know the product number, but the most recent I've been able to find is using the ACS 2011 to 2015 data. Is there a newer version of that available?
Apologies, can you repeat your question from the beginning?
Yes, I'm using the residence county to workplace county commuting flow, and I don't know the product number. And I haven't been able to find anything newer than data set using the 2011 to 2015 data. Is there anything newer, or is this a continuing product?
Understood. Is there someone that's able to answer his question?
This is Megan Netsky with Social Economic Contact. Yeah, get you in touch with.
Sorry, Megan, one moment. We can't hear you very well. If you're able to speak up or turn your mic up.
Can you hear me now?
Still a little faint.
Okay. If you can hear me, I think it's best if they just contact PIO and we'll get them in touch with subject matter.
Thank you. So Bruce, please reach out to us by email or by phone, and we'll work with you on to get you an answer to that question.
Well, this is David Ragland from ACS. I think you're referring to the commuting flows that come from the CTPP, or Census Transportation Planning Package that Nate just referenced. And so he just talked about when we're going to release the next one. That one isn't done every year. I think that's what you're talking about. Was it commuting or migration you were asking about?
Greg, can you unmute his mic again, please?
It was commuting flow.
Yeah,
Commuting flow.
that generally comes from the CTPP, which is that special tab that Nate Walters just mentioned. That we are in the process of working with our customers to define, and then when we do that, we will work to release that tab. So that's one that's not done every year.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's what you're asking about. If it's not, if it's something from something else, please send an email to the address we've been talking about. And somebody just posted the link to CTPP. Thank you in the chat on the question and answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Julie, you're on mute.
Sorry, thank you. I just realized. Thank you all so much for your questions. If you think of any questions following today's webinar, please contact us using the information on this slide. You can also connect with us by subscribing to our email alerts, where we share important information about our data releases, visiting our website at census.gov/ACS. At this time, I'd also like to remind members of the media to please check to make sure your embargo password has not expired. The embargo data for 2021 ACS 5-year estimates will be posted at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, December 6th. If you have additional questions about the embargo or wish to arrange interviews on the topics covered in today's webinar, don't hesitate to call the Census Bureau's Public Information Office at the number or email listed on the screen. As a reminder, the release of news products is set for 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, December 8th, and all data will be made available by 10 a.m. Additional information about the American Community Survey and this release can be found in our press kit. You can scan the QR code on the screen to visit census.gov to sign up for email alerts about upcoming data product releases. If you're looking for further assistance on how to obtain or understand ACS data, our Data Dissemination Specialists, or DDSs, who are located within your region, can provide you with assistance about Census Bureau data. These specialists usually provide help in English, but sometimes are available in other languages as well, depending on needs of their communities. Whether conducting one-on-one webinars with business startups or conducting large-scale presentations at universities, these specialists strive to put the public in touch with the data they need. DDSs provide a wide variety of assistance for free. If you are interested in a specific type of training or presentation, please reach out to a specialist in your area using the contact information on the slide. And finally, we ask that you please fill out an evaluation form. We want to ensure these sessions are helpful to you. Please find the link to the evaluation in the chat window. Thank you so much for joining today's pre-release webinar on the 2017 to 2021 American Community Survey 5-year estimates.